Green light, go, go, go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sonic Sim Racing. Season 7, round 3. We're back to Italy. We were obviously here in round 1 when we visited Misano, and we're back at it, this time at Imola. A lot of cars out on track already. Only 20 minutes for qualifying on a tricky race circuit. Easy to get invalidated laps and get out there and set that benchmark so you don't start at the back of this field. 17 runners as we had in round 1 and round 2. Welcome to everyone who's watching in the stream. Welcome to Sim Racer. Welcome to Johan. Just a flurry of cars now out on track. No lap times as of yet. If the practice session that happened prior to qualifying, obviously that practice session does not get streamed, but there is a practice session that is an hour long that takes place before this qualifying session, and if that practice session is anything to go by, we're going to have a very tight qualifying session. Just 3 or 4 tenths covering the top 6. So let's see what happens in qualifying. We'll start to see some of these laps coming in. Back to the old faithful, back to Bentley, that is Gavin. No lap time as of yet, looked very quick in practice. Endurance racing, that a qualifying lap may be important, but it's very important is how it translates into race pace. So if you've just joined us, I see somebody else has joined the stream. If you just joined us, welcome. Round 3 of season 7, Sonic Sim. We're at Imola. So just over 15 minutes remain in this qualifying session, and then we have a 90-minute race. First lap times are in, and look at that. Those aren't benchmarks, those are pretty low already. Clay sets provisional pole with a 142.1. Sania not far behind, 2/10 of a second in second. Then you've got Roadrunner, Nick Leon, Preza, Eleanor in 6th, JD in 7th, and Kuda in 8th. Those are the men who have set lap times so far. We ride with Nizmax. Looking to set his first lap of the night. Official lap of the night. They have done many laps tonight already. This is the one that counts. E-Racing sets a lap time, goes 9th. Two Porsches, very similar in pace, 1.9 and 2.1 seconds off the pace. Max is now going to go over the line to set his first lap, or does he? No lap shows up. Must have been a warm-up, or it wasn't validated. Another man to watch tonight. Legend. Showed quite a lot of pace earlier on in the day. There's Max, Foss, Legend, Gavin, Springbok Gamer, all to set lap times, as well as BRNTZ, who's making his debut here at Sonic Sim in round 3. And then Mike DeGard, also no lap time. 3 drivers remain in the pits. No attempt as of yet to get on the tarmac. Legend will go over the line shortly. Let's see what he can come up with. Force in the pits. There's Max out on circuit. Springbok Gamer out on circuit. He's just set his first lap time of the night. That'll put him 10th. That time will just come down. Just his first lap time. Those 3 cars remain in the pits, no movement from them. They also in the pits. As I say that, he emerges from the pits. It's currently 3.5 tenths of the pace of provisional pole. That's currently held by Surpresa. It's a 141.8. So Clay held that provisional pole for quite some time, and then the McLaren beat that. Guys are going to have to get into the 141s if they want pole position tonight. If you're not driving, let me know how the stream looks, how it sounds. Pressure there, running wide into the gravel, don't like that. Roadrunner currently in 4th, top running Audi, 4 Audis tonight. The that is officially the most represented manufacturer on the night. We have 4 Audis. Two Porsches, 3 Bentleys, 3 Ferraris. We also have 2 McLarens and 2 Nissans. And then there's always the odd one out, because Springbok Aim is always in that solitary Lexus. She has a clear understanding of that car. Leon currently 5th, second of the 2 Ferraris. He has not qualified outside of the top 3 so far in this season. He's going to want to close that 7/10 of a second. Sania currently 3rd. He's a pole sitter in round 1. A lot of quick runners in this field, a lot of them capable of taking pole. It's just going to be who gets the perfect lap, who gets it right. Probably on any night, any of these drivers could beat each other. It just depends on what's going to happen on that all crucial lap. 9.5 minutes to go in qualifying. Same format for this round as we had in round 1 and 2. A 90-minute race will follow this qualifying session with 1 mandatory pit stop. In that mandatory stop, a tyre change is not mandatory, but as of yet this season I haven't seen anyone try and finish a race on a single set of tyres. Ride with Gavin in the Bentley. He's behind Legend. Currently in 7th is Gavin. JD 6th, Roadrunner 5th, Leon 4th, then your top 3, Supreza, Sania and Clay. Divisional pole time 1:41.865. Closest man to it so far, Sania, that's 0.2 of a second away. We'll have Force, BRNTZ and Mike in the pits, no movement from them. See if they try and get a late run in at the end of qualifying, or if they're starting from the back of the field. Eight cars in the pits at the moment. 9 out on circuit. 7 minutes remain. Most of the cars in the pits will probably go out and have one final go at it. Guys out on track, this is their final go at it. Leon has improved. Takes him up to 4th, 4/10 of a second away. Clay has gone second. And oh so close. 1/100th. Well, 1.5/100ths of a second. That I don't even know how to say that quite. But yeah, that's very, very close. Just got to get a little bit more. Has he done the most out of those tyres? Does he have a little bit more? Sania third, Nick Leon fourth. Ferraris have started on the front row. At least one Ferrari has started on the front row in both round 1 and 2. Ferrari's sitting on row 2 at the moment. Row 1 taken up by a McLaren and a Bentley. Gavin's still going around the circuit behind Legend. He's now 8th. Still 1.1 seconds adrift of provisional pole. Kuda and Nismax also incredibly close lap times. Both of them 1.2 seconds adrift. I've had a lot of close battles actually. Legend and Springbok Game are very close. 1.5 seconds adrift from provisional pole. What a close little battle. Players popped into the pits for the shortest time he possibly can, and he's emerged from the pits immediately. So he's going to go out and have one more run. Really just needs to find 100th. It's a breaking point. It's the smallest thing you can imagine. Preza, he is out on circuit. He's going to have to defend that, try and improve that pole time. Doesn't have much of a defense, just 100th of a second. Sania in third, 0.2 of a second, so this can still flip. Preza's out there to see if he can eke out another few tenths, see what he can squeeze out of this. What is the cameraman looking for? We don't know. There we go. It's the judge. 14th. He is the last of the men to have set a lap time, so that means he's not going to start last on the grid. He's going to have at least 3 cars behind him. Just 3.5 minutes remain. I don't think those cars are going to go out unless they're leaving it for ridiculously late. Out on track, looking to improve on that previous best. That was a 1:41.865. Improvement as of yet. There is play, so he just needs to find 100th of a second. Got a bit of traffic up ahead of him. There is some space for the time being. To make sure he keeps a clear track ahead of him in these final moments of qualifying. Last thing you want is to be up on your delta, potentially taking pole and then run into some cars. Nick Leon and Sania still second row for both the Ferraris. Both of them within 0.2. Very busy circuit at the moment. 13 of the runners out on track altogether. Gavin has gone 7th, just 6.5 tenths adrift. Not quite enough. Roadrunner 5th, Nick Leon 4th, Sania 3rd. Final moments of qualifying, 1.5 minutes to go. Leighton still 3rd, Preza still on provisional pole, no improvements on the timing screens. Clay is going to go over the line now, see if he improves. improvement. Leon has come into the pits with a minute remaining on the clock, so he has accepted his fate. 4th place will be his best possible result unless anybody can break into that top 3, top 4. Still have 3 Bentleys all out on circuit. One of the Audis out on track, the other 3 all in the pits. 2 of them never set a lap time. Just 20 seconds to go. Obviously need to cross that finish line before the checkered flag. You'll be able to finish that last lap. Roadrunner's overdone it, he's off the circuit. Sania just got over the line. I think he just got over the line. So he might be able to have one more go at it, and the way he's going it looks like he did. So he's going to have one more go. Clay is into the pits, so no improvement from him. Surpreza into the pits, so no improvement from him. First and second will remain like that unless Sania can pull something out of the hat. Will Roadrunner have an off-track excursion, unless that was the internet pulling an illusion on us. Judge has classified, he has finished this session, as has Kuda and Ismax. The only drivers still out there, Sania, Roadrunner, and that's the session. Well, let me just go through this order real quick before it disappears from our screens. Surpreza takes pole position from Clayton in second. Then you've got the Ferraris on the second row of Sania and Nick Leon. Roadrunner in 5th, JD in 6th, Gavin 7th, Eleanor Pace in 8th, Nismax 9th, Kuda 10th. Then just outside the top 10, Legend in 11th, Springbok Game in 12th, B Racing 13, the Judge 14th. And then no lap times from Foss 13, BRNTZ and Mike the God. Drivers now will come back into the pits where they will do final adjustments to their cars, to their strategies, to their fuel loads and whatnot. Make sure there's no miscalculations. So just to go through the championship after 2 rounds, Nick Leon does lead the championship. He is on 60 points. He leads by 10 points from Clayton, who's on 50 in second. I need to get the PSN names on the championship list. I don't know who everyone is, unfortunately. I know who some of them are, I don't know who all of them are. But after 2 rounds, Nick Leon leads. Cars now out the pits. They are sitting on the track. So you got 2 minutes to go on your screens. So they've got 2 minutes to finish up with their setup, finish up preparations, do everything they need to do. And then obviously to any of the drivers that are listening, remember to ready up, don't make that mistake. Don't want to see anyone starting from the pit lane. It's not the best way to start an endurance race. Say those Ferraris, there has been one of those Ferraris on the front row in round 1 and 2. Now here in Italy for round 3 at Imola, no Ferrari on the front row, they take up the second row. Third Ferrari is in 11th place there, Legend. 2 Porsches on the night. Obviously Imola has been reintroduced to the F1 calendar last year and got another race this year, and if recent rumours are to be believed, there is a 5-year contract in waiting for Imola, so seems like a good future ahead for Imola, at least in F1.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to go, you heard it yourself. There we go, the clock's going to go 3, 2, 1, and these guys will get off underway on a formation lap. Obviously a full formation lap around the circuit, and then we will have a rolling start. Goodness for the rolling start, though the madness into turn 1 would be even worse. Follow the guys around on their formation lap, getting ready to start this 90-minute race. So we'll be done just after 10:30. The shortest circuit, 4.9 kilometers. Just a touch under 5Ks. F1 lap record at this circuit set last year by Lewis Hamilton. It was a 1:15. Guys getting into formation, lining up side by side so that they can start this race. Preza getting his Sania, yeah, there we go. Internet connection, playing games with us again. Sania staying as close as he can there. Watch the man in third. When will the leader go? They all wait for the leader. When the leader goes, just keep them in formation as long as possible. Try and surprise him. If we go. If we go. Fantastic start there from the man in second play. Is he going to have enough into turn one? Everyone goes through turn one, line astern. We don't see any damage, any carbon fibre, anyone off circuit. No puffs of dust or puffs of gravel. But we have to wait for that first timing beam so we can make some sense of this lineup. So Preza leads from Clayton. Ferraris run in third and fourth where they started. Clayton has run wide. We saw that. Clayton has run wide, and that's allowed. That allowed one of the Ferraris through. I think that's allowed one of the Ferraris through. Has it allowed both of them through? It has. It's allowed both Ferraris to get through. Clayton running wide there on lap 1, and the Ferraris promoted from third and fourth to second and third, and they can chase after the McLaren ahead of them off Preza. Further down the order in fifth place we've got Roadrunner, Gavin in sixth, Kuda seventh, JD 8th, Nizmax 9th, and Legend has broken into the top 10. Has made up a position right at the start of the race. He'll be happy with that. E Racing 12th, Springbok Gamer 13th. Then we've got the debutant BRNTZ, he's in 14th. The Judge 15th. Michael God, he's in 16th. And then of course makes up the field of 17 drivers. Preza continues to lead the field. Sania second, Nick Leon third. Ferrari staying close behind for now. He will want to keep his head in these beginning stages of the race. We saw him leading the race in round 1, only to run wide, similar to what Clayton did, and lose the lead of the race, and he was never really able to get it back. Went backwards. They'll want to keep that McLaren in his sights. They'll want him to get too far up the road. Now look at that, all over the back of that McLaren. He's looking, he goes to the inside, he goes to the outside. There's no way through. There's no way through for now. And that's actually allowed Nick Leon to come at Sania a little bit. The Ferraris going at each other. A lot of action up front. Got to try and keep our eyes on what's happening elsewhere on the circuit. Legend has made up another position. He's now up into 9th place. Debutant made up a few positions. He is now running last. See, he had some sort of off-track moment. Now Sania coming under pressure from Nick Leon. Karen just getting a little bit further up the road, a second up the road now, and I wonder if the Ferrari in third just wants to get by here. And while these two Ferraris fight each other, this is going to allow the Bentley of Gavpig to come into a battle for a podium position. Just needs to keep those Ferraris in his sights. try and get Roadrunner out of his mirrors. Good looking Audi that is. See one of the High Alarmy 9-hour liveries. Man getting lost every now and then. Goes to a top running Porsche. It's Kuda, currently 7th. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, every single driver has 2 cars at the beginning of the season that he picks, and you're able to then switch between those 2 cars depending on which car you find may suit that racetrack better. So one of the drivers to abandon the Porsche, that was Nizmax. It's in the GTR today, currently running in 6th place, chasing down Roadrunner in 5th. Battle at the front has just opened up a little bit. All top 3 in the same frame, but just comfortable little gaps now of a second in between all 3 cars. Those Ferraris not fighting each other. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Gavin to catch up to them. The more they trip over each other, he can take chunks out of the time. Right now with BRNTZ. Saw he had some misfortune, went right to the back of the field in 17th place, but he has already made some progress. He is in 15th and he's on the back of JD, who in turn is on the back of Springbok Gamer. The Lexus coming under pressure from the Bentley. Action all over the circuit in the early stages of this race. Just 4 laps, long way to go. Pit stops haven't even entered the drivers' minds yet. There's quite a few people watching on the stream now. Obviously, if you're not one of the drivers, if you're not ultra concentrated and your hands are available, obviously say hello in the comment section. Let me know you're watching. Let me know what you think of the racing, and if you're supporting somebody here tonight, give them a shout out. Please also leave a like on the channel, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Sonic Sim, and you'll be able to watch all the Thursday night racing, as well as some point of view racing that we may have from time to time from Sonic Sim on PC. No change in the top 3, still Supreza, Sania, Nick Leon. Gavin still running in 4th. Gap between him and those podium positions, about 1.5 seconds. Roadrunner is 2nd behind him, and then 3 seconds down the road from Roadrunner you've got Nizmax running alone. His own little bubble. He's in 6th place, pretty comfortable from Kuda. Kuda in 7th, then Eleanor in 8th. Here we find a string of cars. We've got Eleanor, B Racing and Clay, who has obviously had all sorts of problems. He's now in 10th. Started this race in a very strong position. Now he needs to get his head down and rethink his strategy. Probably didn't think he'd find himself in 10th on lap 5. B Racing and then Clayton in 10th. Clayton looking at the back of that Porsche, seems to take 9th place away. Other battles on track. We've got the Judge in 11. Legend, there we go. Sweeps up the inside. Easily done. Nice and clean there by the Ferrari. Then you've got Springbok Gamer coming up also now on the back of the Judge. This is for position. No reason for Judge to jump out of the way. Judge has also abandoned the Porsche. Don't have a lot of faith in that Porsche from what I can gain from the drivers who attempt it. They don't seem to stick around. And it's just the nature of Imola that's really not conducive to driving that car. By staying away. Seems to be running around Imola really nicely as the McLaren. Preza leads the way. Nick Leon and Sania have switched positions. And that gap is now starting to close a little bit. We saw the top 3 spread out a bit, and now they're actually starting to compress all over again. Just 1.2 seconds between the top 3. And obviously your man in 4th, Gavin, is going to be able to capitalize on these 3 if they start tripping over each other. So he's going to keep a keen eye on the situation. Roadrunner still in 5th, minding his own business. As is Nismax in 6th. All of these drivers having their own race. Kuda having his own race all by himself. Then Eleanor in 8th. He probably wishes he was having his own race. He's coming under all sorts of pressure from Clayton. Clay, who is now 9th, as he got in past B Racing. He has. So he's cleared one of those 2 cars. Thought about going for Eleanor there on the inside, going into the chicane. It's too far back. That was going to lead to a collision. He backed off. Want to get by, but you don't want to cause any damage. Remember, getting damage in this particular game means you're going to have a rough time holding together the same lap times. And then when you come into the pits later on for your mandatory stop, if you choose to repair that damage, you're going to have a much longer pit stop than everybody else, which means if the field stays tight, you're going to come out very far behind. Following Eleanor pace there as he got all nasty over the curves, lost all sorts of traction, and now he finds himself behind B Racing, and Clayton has cleared those 2 cars and basically left them at it. Eleanor all over the back of that Porsche. He wants to get back into position. Legend found his way all the way up to 9th. He's now back in 11th place. Not sure why he lost positions. If it was any off-track moments. He's dealing with the likes of Springbok Gamer in 12th. JD not far behind. He's followed by BRNTZ. That's the Judge running around in 15th. Force in 16th. And Mike in 17th. Back at the front, Supreza under all sorts of pressure. Look at this, Nick Leon right on the back of the McLaren. Difficult to pass here in Imola, nothing easy about it. one of the older circuits, so quite a narrow circuit in modern day standards. Not the easiest place to go side by side and just, unless the guy in front of you makes an error, runs wide. Watch these top three. Gavin hasn't been able to capitalize just yet. That gap was 2.1 seconds, it's now 3.1 seconds. He needs to try and get himself closer into these top three. While they're all over each other's bumpers, they're going to be making mistakes, they're going to be missing braking points, they're going to be getting their traction slightly wrong. They're all under pressure, they're all on edge, and this is the time for fourth place to come back into this race. Top three still Supreza holding on to the lead from Nick Leon from Sania. Gavin is closing that gap slightly. It was 3.1 seconds, it's now 2.5, so he could join the back of that field. But does he really want to? Things could get messy. Maybe he wants to try and pass them all in the pits. Does he have a master strategy? Leighton's still on that road to recovery. He's now in 8th place. Qualified as the top Bentley driver. Made a mistake early on. Got himself behind the two Ferraris. And then made another mistake that we didn't see. A mistake off screen. And when we did see him again, he was in 10th. So he's made up 2 positions since. Eleanor has made his mandatory stop. He becomes the first driver very early on in the race, so if he decides to take this right to the end, those tyres are going to be pretty old. Now things could get interesting. On all over the back of that McLaren, and they're starting to approach traffic. That's Eleanor. He's just come out of the pits. He's had his mandatory stop, so he's going to become the first car to get lapped, and he has the leaders. Who are desperately racing each other, approaching him quickly. Should be with him in the next 2 or 3 corners, and Eleanor quickly gets out of the way, jumps off the throttle. Does he jump off the throttle enough for 3rd place as well? Yes, he does. So no problems there, no dramas, and nicely played. I think he understood the situation, he understood that those were the leaders, and he did not want to get involved. Also one of the quicker drivers, so he knows what it feels like to be at the front. Leon just dropping back from Supreza a little bit, maybe cooling the tyres. It was all over the back of that McLaren. Surely you can't do that for long periods of time. You've got to drop back every now and then. Give yourself a breather, reevaluate, and go have another go. So long as you keep first in your sights, so long as you know you're in first place's mirrors, the pressure's always there. Let's have a look what's happening here with Nick Leon. Time screen just playing a trick on us. They look awfully close, but they're not that close. About 0.2 of a second, 0.5 of a second, there we go, half a second. Leon again just sticks the nose of that Ferrari out briefly, looks towards the inside of the chicane, thinks about it and says, no, not quite yet, and then tucks behind the McLaren. Can't get close enough. Most of the overtakes we have seen have involved someone making an error. What's happening with this camera angle? There we go. Clayton's still in 8th. His next target is a Porsche. 2.5 seconds down the road. That's Kuda. Now you take it one car at a time, one driver at a time. Catch that one, pass that one. Like I said earlier, this track is not the easiest place to pass. See one of the older tracks around. Not a track that was designed to make passing easier. So the track has evolved from its original state multiple times. One of the 5 big circuits in Italy. 3 of them are present on this game and on this calendar. We have visited one. We're visiting the second one tonight, and we will obviously go to Monza, I believe, in round 6. Nick Leon all over the back of Spreza. Still can't find any way through. Needs the McLaren to make a mistake. Now he's going to the inside. No, he backs off again. Thought about it. That camera angle made me think he was going to go for it. Would have been really gutsy. Came from far back. Now he's got a better chance. Still not. Thought about it. Almost into every single braking point. He's looking, ducking. Right now with Nick Leon. He's got Sania behind him. Preza just ahead. And look at that. Preza not getting a great exit there out of that corner. Nick Leon got all over the bumper. He actually had to get off the power there, and that's allowed Sania now getting involved. Nick Leon runs wide. Sania chooses not to pass him. Wonder if there's a little bit of talk between those two, because I think Sania could have gotten past. I think he chose to stay behind that Ferrari. And that will give the McLaren a little bit of respite, but not much. You can see there on the camera, they're still so close. on now into turn 1. You see they're just not getting close enough, really close. It's going to come down to the pit stops. I think the pit stops is going to rearrange these top 3 because they're so close. Running wide, that allows it to come side by side. He's going to have the inside line into the next corner. I'll hold on to second place now, but that second place is not safe. Right now with third place. Identical car to the one in front of him. And from what we can see on this view, Cindy has had the best view in the house for the first 14 laps of the race. He's watched these two struggle for the lead. Stays there in third. With the top Bentley driver on the night so far, Gavin, he is in fourth. You can see the top 3 just ahead of him there, not too far away. This is the sort of thing you can jump in an undercut. Really late in the brakes, nicely riding the curve. It all looks so easy, really not. I was a driver in season 6. Back in the comms box for a reason. Evan seems to be getting closer to this top 3. Horizon that top 3. President Leon Sania, Gavin in fourth, Roadrunner in a race of his own. But Nismax also having a very lonely race. We're looking forward to those mandatory stops, hoping it will reshuffle things and bring him out into a bit of a race. Waiting the second of the Bentleys. See Gavin up the road from him. Continues on that recovery drive that we were speaking about earlier. He's now in 7th place, chasing down the top running GTR, that is Nismax, in 6th place. Was having a lonely race, but Clayton has come to interrupt that. He's going to wait for the pit stops to try and make it faster. He's going to try and get past them on the racetrack. He wants a top 3 finish in this race. He's going to have to get past them on the racetrack. Most of the drivers are going to do their mandatory stop at about halfway distance. Back to 2nd place. The change in the top 3. Big change is that 4th place is getting closer. We'll have a battle of 4 cars shortly. Gamer down in 13, not having the best time of it. Judge behind him, not too far adrift. Spoken so much of the top 2 Ferraris in 2nd and 3rd. There is a 3rd Ferrari out on track. This one over here. This legend made his way up until I think 8th place. That's on backwards. Went down to 13th, he recovered a place, he's now in 12th and seems pretty stable. A race of his own, okay, 15 seconds behind him. JD 4 seconds ahead, so that will be his next target. JD in 11, 4.1 seconds up the road from him. All over the back of Nismax. We've missed something. Did Sania make a mistake? Gavin is up into 3rd place. I think that was a mistake by Sania rather than a pass from Gavin, because the gap between Gavin and 1st and 2nd is 3 seconds. Not sure what happened. Wish we had seen that. We missed that. We spent so much time following the top 3, and when a mistake happened, it was not on our screens. Those Ferraris have finally been broken up, and Gavin is finally up into the top 3. Now concentrate on those 2 cars ahead of him, 3.5 seconds up the road from him. Spreza and Nick Leon still in a battle of their own. You're not supposed to battle for this long in an endurance race. With Leon now, he's on the outside, just thinking about it. They're going side by side, but Supreza's going to have the inside going into the chicane. Oh! Don't think Supreza gave Nick Leon the space there. Leon had to go off circuit slightly. 1st and 2nd remain 1st and 2nd for the time being. Really looked like Nick Leon had it there, wanted to get by. Couldn't finish off the move, needed just a little bit more. Still going on. Ooh, and Nismax clips a curve, it sends him to the outside of the next corner and he runs wide, and that's going to allow Clayton to get through pretty easily. Looked like quite a tough battle, like he was going to have to pull out something special, but just a little mistake, too much curve. Down to 7. Clayton back into the top 6. His next target, Roadrunner. 4.8 seconds up the road from him. Sania has taken the position back from Gavin. So Gavin got into the top 3, but it was ever so brief. Now that top 3, and then there were 2. These 2 still in a close battle, but Sania has dropped off. He's now in a battle of his own with Gavin. Now Force getting in the way of Supreza. He jumps out of the way, so no problem there. Always stressful times when you're coming through lap cars. 90% of these guys will jump out of the way, but there's always a chance that you're just so concentrated you don't realize someone's behind you. so focused on your own race, you forget there's so much going on circuit. So many individuals in the race of their own. Reza and Nick Leon not as close as he was in the previous lap, so Reza doesn't need to worry about a Ferrari going side by side with him into turn 1 this time around. But yeah, he's got a much better drive there. He's going to have the inside, but not close enough. Reza closes the door. Aggressive defense, nice to see. This is really good driving by both drivers. And I love it. I'm commentating on Ferraris and McLarens. It feels like F1. Now coming up on the back of Nismax, he lost the position just a lap ago to Clayton. Now coming under pressure from Kuda. So if he made another mistake, but Kuda has caught up to him just half a second down the road. Less than an hour remaining. We're about 10 minutes from halfway. So those mandatory stops, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of them. In the next couple of laps, next 5 or 6 laps, we will start seeing pit stops coming from all over the field. And all these time gaps that you see on your screen that are relatively close, half a second, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, all of these times are close. So I very much predict a change in this order after the pit stop. Very important part of the race this is. Really got to get your best lap times, your cleanest lap times now. Don't want to make mistakes at the time of pit stops. Max has decided to jump into the pits, as has Mike. They become the first two driver 2 and driver 3 to make their mandatory stops. Of course, Eleanor was the first driver to make his stop, but he did that with an hour and 10 minutes remaining on the clock. So he is going around on pretty old tyres. Is Max still stationary in the pits, as is Mike. Is Max falling down the order. Playing a different strategy, getting the pit stop out of the way a few laps before everybody else. I've seen in round 1, round 2 that when we get 45 minutes we see at least 5 or 6 cars making a pit stop on that lap. We see a similar trend. Gavin jumps into the pits from 4th place. He's decided now is the time. Maybe his tyres were starting to overheat, starting to go off. Decided right. Then you go in, put in the necessary fuel, and then you've got to take care of those tyres to the end of the race. Actually saw a situation last week with Gavin where his tyres fell off the cliff. It wasn't pretty. You lose a lot of time. There's nothing you can do about it. It's completely out of your hands. So the earlier you pit, the better care you're going to have to take of your tyres. The longer you go into the race, I suppose the more reckless you can be towards the end. Be interesting to see who clinches first, who jumps first here between the leaders, just 7/10 of a second. Supreza will be too scared to pit. If the overcut might work, who's going to pit first? Who's going to take the gamble? One of these cars is going to come out ahead of the other. And at this point, really got no idea who. Senior's still not out of this battle. He's 2.4 seconds down the road. When you consider they all still need to 2.1 seconds now. 2.1 seconds really means nothing. Senior's going to be able to come back at these two because that battle continues. Roadrunner has been promoted up into 4th place. Get you a better camera angle. There we go. Roadrunner been promoted up into 4th place. Clayton now 5th place on the recovery drive. The Porsche's running line astern. Kuda and B Racing, they're running 6th and 7th. B Racing under pressure from JD in the 2nd of the Bentley, in the 3rd of the Bentleys. BR19, he's in 9th on debut. See, after having issues in the early parts of the race, Legend has been promoted into the top 10 as a result of those pit stops. Now Gavin jumps into the pits again. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what's going on. Fortunately, I don't have communication with the drivers. I'd love to ask him what's going on. We saw him come in on the previous lap, went all the way down to 10th, and now he's back in the pit lane. I didn't see any penalty pop up on our screens. Maybe I missed that. Was there a penalty? But Gavin yet again has taken himself out of the race for the top 3. And he'll be disappointed with that. Still 45 minutes to go, and you just need to get your head down. Rethink the strategy. Pick up as many points as you can on the night. Obviously, talking a little bit about next week's round. For the drivers that are listening, remember that next week it's not 90 minutes. Guys are going to have to eke out that concentration a little bit more than usual. It's going to be a 2-hour race, so a whole extra half hour added on to the end of the race, and trust me, that half hour does make a difference. If you're one of those drivers that starts losing concentration in the closing minutes of a race, that extra half an hour is really close. Drivers now starting to make their mandatory stops all over the circuit. We have 6 drivers now that have made their mandatory stops. We still have 17 runners of the 17 that started, and we're almost at halfway distance, so that's fantastic. And obviously we hope that later on in the season we can get the full allotment of 20. Pit lane getting busy. Judge into the pits, Preza into the pits, Sania into the pits. Nick Leon reacted first. He went into the pits first, got out just ahead of Springbok Gamer. And then Supreza and Sania reacted the very next lap. And that's promoted Roadrunner into the lead of this race. If I'm not mistaken, he led the race in round 2 under similar circumstances. Clayton, he's up into 2nd. Probably didn't see himself getting back into 2nd a few laps ago. But he did the right thing. He didn't get angry, he didn't leave, he stayed in the race, got his head down and did exactly what he needed to do. Caught one car at a time, passed one car at a time. And now that multiple cars have come in for their stops, he's been promoted up the order. Obviously he still needs to do his mandatory stop, so he will not keep that second place for the time being. Let's have a look. Surpresa is ahead of Sania, and Sania, well, we need our timing beams to correct themselves. Any second now.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
Halfway mark of the race, 45 minutes to go. From what I can tell, Nick Leon has taken the lead of this race. When all is said and done, he's in 6th place, but the 5 cars ahead of him are yet to make pit stops. So I think Nick Leon has made the jump on Surpresa with that undercut. Surpresa reacted immediately the very next lap, but it wasn't enough. And those positions have swapped, so if Surpresa wants to win this race, he's going to have to catch up to Nick Leon and pass him. The man he's been defending from all race. Of those top 5 cars, 3 are currently stationary in the pits. As I say that, Clayton emerges from the pits. Where will he rejoin this race? Remember, don't pay too much attention to those timing screens when the guys rejoin the track. Timing screen only gets reset when the car crosses the next timing beam. So when you come out of the pits, the time you see there is incorrect until the car crosses into sector 2. So when there's a lot of pit stops going on, don't follow those timing screens too close. Let everything settle down. Quite a few likes on the video tonight, so thank you to everybody who's left a like. Thank you to everybody who has been watching. We're almost 90 minutes into this stream. 42 minutes left in the race. Roadrunner is your leader. He is yet to pit. We have an Audi 1-2 as a result of the 2 Audis being the only 2 cars not to have made their mandatory stop. Nick Leon is in 3rd and basically in the lead of this race. These 2 Audis need to stop. The initial signs are showing that Surpresa is not able to hold on to the back of Nick Leon ahead of him. That gap 2.9 seconds. It's the biggest gap we've had between 1st and 2nd so far in this race. Clayton has rejoined the race in a very strong 5th place. He'll be happy with that after all the commotion that happened at the start. Another man in the pits. That is BRNTZ. He's made his pit stop. Clayton lapping Springbok Gamer, clearing another car. Clayton is in 4th place. He's actually cleared Sania. So when Roadrunner comes in for his pit stop, I think our top 3 is going to look a little something like Nick Leon, Surpresa and Clayton. So what a turnaround. He had some sort of off-screen incident that we were unable to see. We joined the race in 10th place. At least when we got wind of it, he was in 10th place. Slowly recovered a few places here and there. And after all said and done, mandatory stops, he's in 4th place. Roadrunner needs to pit. So I think he's actually recovered his podium, which would be quite incredible. Still 17 drivers of the 17 that started. Fantastic. It'd be great to see round 3 with a 100% finishing record. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, the top 15 cars will all get points, and then anybody outside of the top 15, which doesn't fall under the common points structure, will get 1 point for attendance. I think Clayton, I thought that was an internet issue, so I didn't comment on it at the time, but Clayton just clipped the wall. Did he clip the pit wall? No, the car looks fine. I think that was an internet issue. Some of the guys tonight running a slightly higher ping than we used to. I'm not sure what is happening in the world of the internet. But obviously, if you're one of the drivers listening to the stream, if your PlayStation is connected using a wireless connection, maybe rethink that. That could be your sole reason for a very high ping and an unsatisfactory time online. Drive-through penalty. We have a drive-through penalty. We have a drive-through penalty for Nick Leon, the leader of the race. He's cut corners one too many times. And Nick Leon 747, he's currently in second. Roadrunner ahead of him needs to make his mandatory stop. So Nick Leon was in prime position to lead this race. He has got a drive-through penalty. And has he just ended this race on a silver platter to the McLaren? Here he comes. He's going to have to slow down. Slow down to that pit speed limit, and he's going to hear the cars zooming past him, and it's going to be killing him. Surpreza now leads the race from Clayton. Keep on saying leading. He's not leading, is he? This is the man that's leading. It's Roadrunner. Roadrunner leads the race. 29 laps on the same set of tyres. He's playing the oddball strategy, leaving the pit stop till very late, so he can enjoy a fresh set of rubber towards the end of the race and really be able to throw this car around a lot more when everybody else is conserving. So he may make up positions towards the end of the race. Surpreza now probably thought he had lost the lead of the race when he got undercut by Nick Leon, and then couldn't believe his luck when he saw Nick Leon turn right into that pit lane entry and slow down to the 50 speed limit, letting him retake the lead of this race with a comfortable 5.5 second lead from Clayton in second. Third, who's had a fantastic recovery drive. Does he have anything left to give Surpreza a handful in the last half hour? Focusing on the leaders for now, because we don't have any real battles on track that I can see anyway from our timing screens. The gaps are pretty well spread out. Let's run through the field from the back this time. So we'll start at 17th. With Mike. I've seen him had better races than this one, so I'm gonna take it that he's just not enjoying Imola. Hasn't really had the best time so far. We'll go slightly up the road, or 23 seconds up the road. And you're gonna find Voss in 16th. Looks like he's going to pick up his first points of the championship, if I'm not mistaken. Just needs to hold things together for a little bit over half an hour, and he'll be able to claim his first points in the Sonic Sim Championship for Season 7. Eleanor, mixed bag. It's usually a very quick driver, just hasn't had a good night tonight. maybe coming down to the circuit. Don't know what it is. But usually he is a quicker driver. Judge 14th as ever. Just keeps on going. Not the fastest driver, but he'll never quit. Having that attitude of just never quitting, you do get reasonable positions every now and then when everybody else trips up over themselves. JD becomes the second driver now to pick up a drive-through penalty, so corner cuts starting to affect the drivers with just after half hour to go. The Munna has joined. Oh wow, hello the Munna. The Munna is in the comment section. How's it going, Munna? Actually, still around. I tried to contact you the other day. You haven't been on Discord in days. Where have you been? Back at the front, Roadrunner still leads this race. He has not done his mandatory stop. 32 laps into this race. Holding on for a long time. He's going to have much fresher rubber than everybody else at the end of the race. Preza in second, but technically he's the leader of your race. Got so lucky when Nick Leon clipped one curb too many. Got that drive through. We've got another drive through. No, we don't. I'm getting overexcited. That said, drive through cleared. So no penalties right now. Alright, great stuff. Must come online tomorrow. No F1 tomorrow. So it's a Friday without F1. Gonna have to find something else to do. Roadrunner still stubbornly not coming into the pits. When will he come into the pits? There we go. Now he comes into the pits on lap 32. Obviously changing your tires is not mandatory, but I can't imagine anyone pitting and not changing their tires. Preza now will get free reign to take the lead of this race. To obviously switch off my notifications. Now everyone watching at home knows that Maverick's online. That's fantastic. No, I haven't downloaded it. I'm even worse at shooting games than I am at racing games. So my I don't know if I'll be downloading it. Preza leads this race. It's now official. He leads from Clay. Sania third, Roadrunner fourth, Nizmax fifth, Kuda sixth, Nick Leon in seventh after that drive through. He's got to have a bit of a recovery drive himself now. B Racing 8th, BR on debut, he's in 9th. He'll be happy with this race. Gavin 10th. Not sure what happened with him. He came into the pits twice, but I didn't see a penalty for him. So, not really sure what happened there. I'll ask him after the race. But JD in 11th, just outside the top 10. Legend in 12th, Springbok Game at 13th. But Legend in 14th and Eleanor Pace 15th. Those are your points finishers. And then obviously 16th and 17th will pick up 1 point apiece. Obviously for finishing the race, just to give you that little bit of extra motivation. If you find yourself outside the points with 5 minutes to go, there is a reason to finish. You just get that 1 point, that credibility to mean, to show that yes, I was at that round. I did take part. I did finish. I'm distracted by my phone tonight. Fantastic. Just under 30 minutes remain, 29 minutes in fact. We're in the final third of this 90-minute race at Imola. Round 3 of season 7, obviously next week. Going to have that extra 30 minutes. It'll be a 2-hour race around Bathurst. If I can recommend anything to the drivers that will be taking place next week at Bathurst, is if you want a decent qualifying spot, you better practice your 1-lap pace. Very easy track to get an invalidated lap on. Very long lap and only a 20-minute qualifying session. So if you mess up your first run and your second run, all of a sudden you're going to be under all sorts of pressure. Reza leads comfortably. Sania coming up on the back of Clayton, looking to regain some respectability for Ferrari. So Nick Leon was in second for the longest time, then pulled off the best undercut to get past Supreza and then lose that position only half a lap later because of a drive-through penalty that has now put him back in 7th place. Sania right on the back of that Bentley. Clayton has been in the wars up and down today. I wonder how much he's going to want to get into a battle here for second, or will he just simply accept third? Roadrunner in 4th, not too far down the road, 8.5 seconds down the road from the podium finishers with 25 minutes remaining. Further down, look, let's ride with Legend for a while and listen to the sounds of the Ferrari. He's held on to this 12th place, made it his own. Had a bit of a race of his own. Made up some positions at the start of the race. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hold on to those. It's just so much pace at the top of the field. But there's nothing wrong finishing in 11th or 12th. Guys are really close. We saw it in qualifying how close it can be. Different drivers, different internet connections, different cars, and they're getting within a tenth, 2/10 of each other. It shouldn't happen, but it does. That's how close these guys are. They maximizing everything they can. So in a 90-minute race, all you really need to be is a second a lap off the pace, and you're going to be nowhere near the leaders. Preza still leads, that gap fairly comfortable, 4.9 seconds. Clayton still ahead of Sania, that gap not so comfortable, 8/10 of a second. Ferrari still doing everything they can to get up into second. Roadrunner in 4th, Nismax 5th, Nick Leon in 6th. He's actually approaching the back of Nismax. You know, he's been quick all race. Should be able to get past the man in 5th. And that is the sounds of my computer, folks. So the 20 minutes remain. Nismax now coming under increased pressure from Nick Leon. That gap just 2/10 of a second. Ferrari wants to get by. That's a very quick Ferrari. We saw that man running up at the top of the field most of the race. He led the race briefly. Well, sort of. Roadrunner led the race. But looked like Nick Leon was going to take the lead of this race. He was even opening the gap to the man in second, which was Supreza at the time. The gap was 2.9 seconds. Looked like he was going to be able to run away from the McLaren, but then that didn't happen because of a penalty. So penalties have played a part in tonight's race. going to have his hands full. He wants to hold on to 5th place. 20 minutes to go. Roadrunner in 4th. Now remember, Roadrunner pitted very late in this race. He pitted much later than everybody else. So the way I see things, he should have very fresh rubber compared to everyone else around him. And if those guys in the front are pushing each other and the tires start to drop off, we could see something very interesting, and Roadrunner could find himself within the top 3 if he just plays his cards right. It's all about consistency now till the end of the race, and make sure that if anyone in the top 3 does have a situation where their tires fall off a cliff, you're going to be able to capitalize because you're going to be close enough. Roadrunner just 4 seconds away from those podium positions. Leon right behind Nismac, 7/10 of a second. Gavin right behind B Racing. We have a Bentley racing a Porsche. Gavin hoping to pick up a few extra points. If he can take 9th instead of 10th, he'll definitely do that. One of the contenders for the championship. One of the faster drivers. Not having the best day as a result of a penalty. Everything was going very well up until that point. In fact, if things had remained exactly the same, and obviously taking into consideration that Gavin hadn't made any other mistakes, if he hadn't got that drive-through penalty, he could very well be in 2nd place. Because that's what it looked like where he would be. He'd be between Freza and Sania. That's the thing with these 90-minute races. You can spend 85 of those minutes intensely concentrated. But if you make one mistake and spend one extra drive-through penalty, one ever stop-go penalty, or an extra pit stop, or any extra time off the track, in your race, it's not done. Gavin is in 10th, he's still picking up points. Look at Clayton, his race was a shambles, but you have made things a lot more difficult for yourself. Roadrunner on that fresh set of tyres, he is closing the gap. The gap was 4.9 seconds, then it was 4.1 seconds, now it's 3.5 seconds. So Roadrunner getting closer and closer to those podium positions with just over 15 minutes remaining. Is still leading from Sania, that gap 4.8 seconds. Clayton 6/10 of a second adrift from Sania, still looking to get into 2nd place. Roadrunner's in 4th, keeps on closing that gap. It's actually holding firm now at 3.5 seconds. Preza from Sania from Clayton. Then outside the top 3, Roadrunner, Nizmax, Nick Leon, Kuda, BR, B Racing, and Gavin. That's your top 10. Outside your top 10, we've got JD Legend, Springbok Gamer, Eleanor Pace. Sorry, I just noticed something while I was reading. Eleanor Pace, The Judge, and Mike. So we have 16 drivers of the 17 that started this race. We are missing an Audi. We are missing Voss. Voss is missing. He's had enough of round 3. He's had enough of Imola. He's not enjoying Italy so far. Didn't finish in Misano. Didn't finish in Imola. As well as not finishing in round 2. So we'll still wait to see the first points on the championship table for Voss. Or Voss, whichever pronunciation is correct. Now just under 15 minutes to go. We enter the final push. Preza from Sania from Clayton. Roadrunner 4th, Nizmax 5th. Nick Leon 6th, Kuda 7th, BR 8th, B Racing 9th, Gavin 10th. McLaren from Ferrari, from Bentley, from Audi, from Nissan. 5 manufacturers in the top 5. Ride with your leader. Fantastic performance so far. He got a bit lucky with Nick Leon. Nick Leon needed to do that drive-through penalty, which cost him so much time and let Preza take the lead of the race after he had been jumped in the pit stops successfully by an undercut. Got a second chance at it, and that's the only chance he needed. He's kept that gap to the car behind him. Sania is closing the gap, 3.5 seconds now, but with just 11 minutes to go. Just 11 and a half minutes to go. Not a lot of time to close that. It's going to take some sort of a mistake from Preza. His tyres are going to have to fall off the cliff. Preza, Sania, Clayton, 3.5 seconds, covers the leaders. Clayton not far behind, still wants to take second place away. It's everyone who's been watching, everyone who's stayed on the stream all this time. Not a lot of people do watch when it's live. We get most of our viewers after the race. Obviously everybody who watched round 2 last week, thank you very much. We've got 95 views on that video. An increase of almost 20 views from round 1. So it's good to see the Sonic Sim Racing YouTube channel going in the right direction. Hopefully we can get a few folks to keep coming back every Thursday, and obviously if you've got the game, why not get on the track? Got a few spots. Let's 17 drivers start round 1, 2 and 3, so in all of those races there were 3 spots available. So if you're watching this and you're interested, you know what to do. Contact Sonic Sim either on Twitter or on Discord, and yeah, let's get you signed up, let's get you out on circuit. It wasn't all about luck though for Sorpresa. Remember that whole first stint in the race, he had Nick Leon all over his rear bumper for lap after lap after lap. Gave him absolutely nothing, pushed him to the very end, and he was able to maintain that defensive position. Sorry for the silence. Blame my phone. You can blame my phone. I usually don't usually look at the phone during the racing, but the phone's going off, and yeah, I've got reason to look at the phone. Something interesting on the phone. So Sorpresa leads from Sania, from Clayton, and Roadrunner has been able to close that gap. We were talking about Roadrunner being on the fresh tyres towards the end of the race, and now he's going to have fresher tyres than all of those cars in front of him with 8 minutes to go. Roadrunner coming up on the back of Clay. Clay was giving Sania all sorts of pressure, but now Clay's going to come under all sorts of pressure from Roadrunner in the closing stages of this race. I think Roadrunner can still get second here. And look at that, Roadrunner sweeps up the inside. We got a great camera angle of it. We didn't see the start of the move, unfortunately, but we saw the end of it. We saw the result. That's the result. Roadrunner up into third place, up onto the podium positions. Oh, and he'll be happy with that. He'll love that. Up into third place right at the end. And having that fresh set of tyres, I'm sure he can catch Sania. 7 minutes to go on the clock. If he can catch Sania and he can get on the gearbox of that Ferrari, he's going to give that Ferrari all sorts of trouble. We know how much fresher those tyres are. Stopped so late in the race in comparison to everyone else. We enter the last 5.5 minutes of this race. Roadrunner doing all he can to catch Sania ahead of him. Has he accepted third place, or does he still see second or first as a possibility? Remember how much fresher those tyres are. It's going to be difficult to close the gap, but once he's on the gearbox, he's going to have better traction coming out of each and every single corner. He just needs to get side by side with one of these guys, and they don't really hold a chance. Roadrunner has all the cards in his hands. Might just need an extra 5 laps at the end of this race though. 5, maybe another 2 or 3. Four minutes to go. So when the clock runs out, the leader just needs to finish the lap he's on, and that will be round 3. That will be Imola. Remember, next week, 2-hour race at a very, very challenging circuit. Time continues to tick down. 3 minutes to go. Roadrunner continues to close that gap. 1.1 seconds is the gap. Sania all over the back of Sorpresa. This could really fall into Roadrunner's hands at the end here. Oh! And look at that. That is the commentator's curse at the worst possible time. Roadrunner could have very well won this race with the superior tyres. Sorpresa and Sania getting into a battle for the lead. Roadrunner was quickly closing that 1 second gap. He was approaching those leaders on fresh rubber, but then a spin around into the wall, and he will not be happy with that. Sorpresa leads from Sania. 0.3 of a second is the gap. There's 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Other battles on circuit, we have Nick Leon, 0.4 of a second behind Kuda. So he's still trying to make up as many positions as possible before the end of the race. And then Gavin trying to get 1 position better than 10th. Trying to go 9th. 1 better, slightly more championship points. Seconds to go. This is gonna go down to the line. We're gonna have a battle for the lead on the very last lap of a 90-minute race. Guys aren't supposed to be this close together after such a long time, but they are. 20 seconds to go as they go over the line, which means they're going to have to do 1 more lap. Gonna have to do 1 more lap. Probably wishes he was 1 sector back so that the race could just end. Sania has not given up on those 0.3 of a second. Perez, defend, defend, defend. He's been defending from a Ferrari most of the race. Now it's just a different color Ferrari. Just needs to do what he did so well in that first phase of the race. He's gonna come home with the win here in round 3. We're going a bit crazy. There we go, Preza, Sania in the closing stages. Sania did everything he did, everything he could to get past, but 4/10 of a second. We're in the closing stages of this lap. There's nowhere really left to pass. He's going to give it everything he can. Yeah, get as close as he can on the straight, but no DRS in GT3. And that's that. Preza wins from Sania. 2/10 of a second is the gap over the line. Nicely done. Clayton comes home in 3rd. Roadrunner comes home in 4th. Now we just wait for Nizmax. Come, cameraman, where are you? There we go. Ooh, Nizmax going a bit slowly there towards the end of the race. Don't see a checkered flag next to his name yet, so he has not as of yet classified. Did Kuda get past him? Seems like Kuda got past him right at the end there. That was not on screen, so can't tell you what happened there. Didn't really see it. Seems like Kuda and Nick Leon are gonna come home ahead of Nizmax. Held on to 5th for such a long time and then lost 5th on the last lap. He will finish 7th. Now we just wait for BR, NTZ, Gavpig, JD, LNR, and the judge. LNR has finished his race, as I was saying that. 4 cars left to be classified. There we go, that's the end of that. Everybody has classified, obviously except for Force, who didn't finish the race. Let's just go through this list before it disappears from our screens. Preza wins the race, 2/10 of a second from Sania. Gave it everything at the end, wasn't enough. Clayton, brilliant recovery drive from 10th back to 3rd. Then Roadrunner in 4th, Kuda 5th, Nick Leon 6th. Nizmax won't be happy with that last lap, down from 5th to 7th. Then BR in his first race, he's going to come home in 8th, ahead of Gavin in 9th, JD 10th. Then just outside of the top 10, we've got B Racing 11, Legend 12th, Springbok Gamer 13, Eleanor 14, The Judge 15, and then Mike in 16th. He will pick up that one solitary point for taking part. That has been round 3, that has been Imola. Thank you very much to everybody who has watched, and thank you to everybody who's going to watch this later on. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will be back next week. Remember, next week's not 90 minutes, it's going to be a 2-hour race around Bathurst. Challenging race, challenging 2 hours. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Remember, subscribe to the channel so you get notifications whenever we go live. Enjoy.